Hey guys, I'm just going to screen share so you can see these slides. Okay. All right. So some of you might have seen that I've had a poll going to find out what you all wanted to learn more about. And the majority vote indicated that you wanted to know about how the Nrf2 or the Nrf2 activator fits into this first stage of healing. I'm really glad that this is what people voted for, because it's definitely the one I wanted to speak about most, and it's one that excites me the most. So let me clarify, just for those tuning in. When I'm referring to the first stage in a protocol that we've been presenting and talking about here on the group page, calming and cleansing. So the body won't be able to truly start healing until that first step happens. So we need to calm down all that reactivity, the inflammation, the acidity, and cleanse the cells of all of this toxic plaque that builds up and it interferes with cellular function. So I want to draw on my experience as a naturopath and explore not only how the body works and heals, but how the mind and soul work and heal too, which is why I've called this presentation Nrf2 Activation and True Healing. So when I'm talking about healing, I don't just mean an alleviation of certain symptoms. So I'm talking about the body healing itself in a holistic way. So true healing, I believe, is something that most people don't really understand or perhaps haven't yet fully explored. And it involves a process that needs to be honoured, and it takes time. So quick fixes are not true healing, because the issue tends to come back, and that's because the underlying drivers or the causal factors that are creating it are still actually there. So this extremely important first step, this vital first step really to true healing, is calming and cleansing. And that involves a few steps. But before I go into that, I want to just step back a little bit and give you an overview. And that's because I get a lot of people asking how this fits into spiritual growth and development. So lots and lots of people that I know are wanting to develop themselves spiritually and emotionally as well. So how does all of this fit in? Because we don't just want to kind of gloss over what's driving our health issues, just treat the symptoms, or just take something so we feel temporarily better, and that kind of allows us to not address what's driving it. Because when we do that, we miss this really important opportunity for growth and development, both on the emotional level and on the spiritual level. And I see a lot of people doing this. And I used to have most of my patients in my practice, they'd come in and they really just wanted something to make a certain symptom go away. And most natural therapies are actually based on this too. And it is a step in the right direction, because you don't have the toxicity issues of the drugs. But when you're just treating symptoms, or just taking something for the pain, or something for the thyroid, something to help you sleep, whatever it might be, you're not treating the whole, and so it's not true healing. So what I love about the Nrf2 activator is that it's one of a few really, really special plant-based medicines that we can use to treat the whole organism. So once we've decided that we really want to heal, we can use certain plant medicines to support this process in a really powerful way. So with every single physical issue, there's actually something at the emotional level of us that's creating it. And so this emotional level is really important to touch on when we're talking about real healing. So I want to use this diagram to kind of clarify this. So it starts at the soul level, and that causes the spirit body, which is also known as the energy field or the aura. It causes it to have specific weaknesses in certain areas. And this has actually been demonstrated in the area of physics, where they can use devices nowadays that actually measure the vibration of things and of people. And so when there's an area of weakness, it will be vibrating at a much lower, denser level. And this will start to affect the physical level and create a weakness in the physical. So these weaknesses, they become our Achilles heel, if you like. So you know how some people get gut issues and some get headaches, etc. Well, this is why. It's because we all have our areas of weakness and susceptibility, because we have these different emotional areas that are unhealed, and that affects our energy field in specific ways. And so this is kind of why you might have heard people say, you know, oh, you've got a sacral issue or a second chakra issue, and that this can lead to stomach problems, as an example. Well, that's sort of, it's not just fluff and guff, as I call it, new age fluff and guff, which I'm not really into. You know how people can spout a lot of this spiritual new age talk where you think, yeah, but what does that really mean? Well, this isn't just fluff and guff. There's actual science in this. It's tangible, it's measurable. So these specific weaknesses in the spirit body affect the physical, and they also affect the genetics, and they affect, of course, and the genetics affect the physical, of course, as well. And so it goes the other way around. So the physical affects the spirit body. So say, for example, we eat processed food, which has a very low vibration, and this will lower the overall vibration of our energy body or our spirit body. And of course the physical affects the genetics too. So if over an extended period we're exposed to toxins, this can also affect the genetics. And when the spirit body is vibrating at a low level, it's denser, it's more contracted, and it actually locks up the emotional level. So we become stuck, we feel depressed, and we can feel numb and disconnected. And when we're in this state, when we remain in this state, true healing just cannot happen. So you can see how intertwined all of this is, which makes perfect sense, really. And how we can sort of get into this cycle. So how do we break this cycle? So in this healing protocol, we've started to discuss the calming and the cleansing stage, and this targets the physical in order to break this vicious cycle, to sort of turn the tap off, in a sense. We want to turn the tap off. So if we go with that analogy, and let's say we've got an overflowing sink, what are we going to do? Are we just going to start mopping the floor and just keep mopping? No, we're going to turn the tap off first, or we're going to stop that tap, and then we're going to mop the floor. So we turn the tap off up here by stopping that oxidative stress, the inflammatory cycle, the acidity, etc. And when we do that, we actually raise our overall vibration. And that positively affects the spirit body, of course. And when this happens, some of this low vibrating emotions, they start to shift, and they start to flow out of us. And it becomes easier to access these stuck emotions that are holding us back from healing. And we tend to feel more emotional and more connected to ourselves when this starts to happen. And that's how we were designed to be. And on that note, I just want to mention that as the body starts to heal, and some of you may have experienced this already, you're quite likely to have emotions bubble up to the surface because they need to come out to heal. And this is good. It's an essential part of a true healing process. So we'll move on. So how do we turn the tap off? How do we stop this oxidative stress, the inflammatory cycle continuing in our body? How do we change that interior environment in the body, the physical body, and therefore raise the vibration of our energy body. So we do this by, firstly, we need to stop the sources of toxins through our foods, our personal care, our cleaning products, electromagnetic radiation, etc. So this is a really important first step, and I know a lot of you have started to really look at that and start to make some great changes, which is awesome. Number 2 is we can start to use the Nrf2 activator to start to reverse this oxidative stress and this process of toxic accumulation in the body. So the Nrf2 activator is doing not only the calming part of our first stage of healing by reversing the inflammatory drivers, the oxidative stress, everything that's making the body reactive and creating our symptoms, really. But it has also been shown, and now this was actually a US-based study, it was shown to increase our body's own glutathione production by 300%. Now this is huge. So glutathione, for those of you that don't know, it's one of our body's most powerful natural chelators. So it will begin to do this cleaning part of the first stage as well by eliminating the toxins and cleaning off all that toxic plaque from the cells so that the cells can begin to heal and function again. Let's move on. Yeah, the inflammatory cycle. So all the inflammation, which biochemically it goes alongside the oxidative stress and the acidity, all these factors that drive so many symptoms, all the inflammatory based symptoms, the pain, the anxiety, they're all due to this state. And when the body's in this state, we're really this perfect environment or breeding ground, really, for pathogens. So we're really susceptible to infection, and this is when the layers start to pile one on top of the other over the years. And so the Nrf2 activator will actually start to reverse this. So we'll move on. Oxidative stress. So this is something that we've been talking about a fair bit in the group. So in simple terms, oxidative stress it's the rusting of our cells in our body. So you know how when you cut an apple and you leave it and it starts to go brown, well, this is the oxidation process. And the longer you leave the apple, the more it starts to actually change its form. And the same thing happens in our cells. So the oxidative stress causes little bits of the cell wall to break away, and it can leave us with a really high percentage of damaged cells, which we don't want. Okay, so, all right, so these are all the external environmental factors that are driving it. And in today's world, we've got more sources of chemical toxins and electromagnetic radiation and other things that drive oxidative stress than ever before. Now we've got a way of reversing it and providing the support that we need while we're living in a toxic world, really. So why is it important to reduce oxidative stress? So, well, it impacts every part of the body. So there's over 260 conditions currently in the body that have been linked to oxidative stress, which is pretty enormous. And this is why we're seeing testimonials of it reversing just about every chronic condition under the sun. So how it works is it actually turns on your body's pathways, your Nrf2 pathways, which are producing these vital antioxidant enzymes, particularly the catalase, the glutathione, and the superoxide dismutase. And these are our body's 3 most powerful antioxidants. And generally by about our mid-20s, these pathways have started to become quite damaged and sluggish in some, and almost completely switched off in others. And about between 30 and 50% to varying degrees, but up to 50% of the population these days are actually more susceptible to this from quite a young age, through the genetics. There's that genetic susceptibility. And the main thing that the Nrf2 activation does is it actually turns these pathways back on. And we really want these pathways working. So as you can see, this is going to be a lot more effective than taking antioxidants through the diet or in a supplement form. And in fact, I'd also add to that taking synthetic antioxidants can even damage these pathways, because it tells the body that they no longer need to work. They no longer need to produce it itself. Okay, let's move on. All right, so this is a statement from the Washington State University. They actually published a study on Nrf2, and they said that Nrf2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So that's a big statement. So currently there's about 26 published peer-reviewed studies on PubMed, which is the US medical library online, on the patented Nrf2 activator that we've been referring to. This is really powerful. Finding any natural product with a study published on the specific product is extremely rare, and we have 26 of those. So about 5 years ago, there was 500 studies, thereabouts, on Nrf2, and today there's over 10,000 studies. So it's getting some serious scientific attention, for good reason too, I believe. So that's it. That's it, guys. So in a nutshell, I feel that we have something really incredibly powerful in our hands. You know, I personally haven't come across anything that can do all of what I've outlined. So you could do the calming and the cleansing step very slowly by taking, you know, multiple expensive products, different detox products and regimes. Or you could take this one herbal tablet alongside a low-tox life and some self-love, and really be well on your way to healing and really creating holistic wellness. So that's about all I wanted to say, I think. So thank you so much for listening and for being here. And please feel free to drop any questions or comments in the comment box. And until next time, see ya.